The iPhone 16 is a gorgeous piece of hardware. The color of this pink model is absolutely breathtaking. It is bright and vibrant, and you don't see enough color like this in consumer technology today. I'm really quite taken with how gorgeous this phone is. But it's more than just looks. I've been testing out the iPhone 16 alongside its more expensive sibling, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, for about 3 to 4 weeks. And I have to say that this model here is arguably the pick of the bunch. It is the pick of the litter. It is the one to buy for most people in most situations. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with what you get with the iPhone 16. First of all, it's the cheapest of the lot. It starts at $11.99 Australian dollars, which is reasonably affordable for a flagship device. Apple actually reduced the cost of its models this year, which is something we haven't seen happen outside of an exchange rate adjustment for a very long time. You get a 6.1-inch Super Retina OLED display. The phone is rated at IP68 for water and dust resistance, and it comes in a range of really bold, vibrant colors. Plus, it costs $400 less than the iPhone 16 Pro. Now, where does that difference in value come from? Let's take a look. So running the show with the iPhone 16 this year is the A18 processor. In the Pro models, you've got the A18 Pro processor. The difference when it comes to a benchmarks perspective is negligible on the CPU front, but a little bit on the GPU front, which basically means that your Pro is better for dealing with gaming or processing images than the core model. But the core model is still no slouch. It outperforms last year's iPhone 15 Pro across the board in benchmarks. But of course, benchmarks are a small part of the equation. How does it feel to use? Look, it is smooth. It is really solid. I've played some Call of Duty on this. I've played some Diablo Immortal and obviously used it for social media or photography or videoing, and it's constantly smooth. There's no real issue. From a specs perspective, there is one slight drawback, and that is the fact that the screen is still only 60 Hz for refresh rate. Now, when you compare to Android devices around the same price, you will see 120 Hz. When I reviewed the Samsung S24 FE recently, that phone, which is about the same price, maybe even a little bit cheaper, offers 120 Hz refresh rate. So it feels to me like this is an arbitrary restriction on the iPhone 16 from Apple's perspective, just in order to try and create some level of difference between this model and the Pro model to justify that higher cost. That's not to say that the screen is bad. It's still bright and vibrant and still feels smooth to scroll through all of your social media posts. But from a specs perspective, it's not quite as good. You'll notice when you look at the back of the iPhone 16 that it still features the two cameras that have been standard on iPhone models for the last few years. But instead of being on a diagonal position with a square camera array, there is an inline array. The two camera lenses are side by side and skewed to one side of the phone. And the reason for that is the ability to now record spatial video. This is not something that I have had the benefit of experiencing, so it is effectively a way of creating depth in your videos for when you stick a Apple Vision Pro on your head to immerse yourself in the recordings. So unless you've got an Apple Vision Pro, it's probably not that big of a deal, but that's why Apple has tweaked the design of the cameras to allow for that to happen. The other big change to the camera functionality of this phone is the addition of the camera control button. So just like the iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple has added in a button that lets you take photos on the iPhone 16, a dedicated button. And just like in my review of the 16 Pro Max, I love the idea, but the implementation hasn't won me over yet. I find that you need a half press to autofocus, just like every digital camera I've ever tested. But currently a half press will just give you the option to scroll through some of the settings, adjust the zoom or adjust the tone of your photo. Give it time. I know Apple has already committed to introducing that feature, which is going to make the functionality of this button so much more valuable. I will also say that compared to the 16 Pro Max, where I found the button placement to be just a little bit further away because of the size of that phone, the 16's smaller body actually made it easier to press that button. So I found taking a photo with the iPhone 16 camera shutter button to be quite easy. Battery life, solid as you would expect. There is enough juice in here to get you through a day comfortably, depending on what you do. I wasn't able to push it out much beyond a day. I feel the smaller frame of the phone maybe doesn't allow for that extra capacity like the Pro Max model did, but in any case, it's a full day's battery depending on what you do. If you do need to charge, Apple's added Qi 2 charging and a fast charging capability through MagSafe, although you need a specific MagSafe adapter to do that, which I wasn't able to test. So hopefully that will become standard over time through third-party accessories and you'll get that faster MagSafe charging experience. Apple has taken the action button from last year's Pro models and thrown it onto the standard models as well this year, which offers that versatility of being able to control multiple functions. With the improvements to iOS this year, it's actually really easy to set your own quick function buttons, not just to the action button, but to the lock screen and to the control center as well. So when you consider that the A18 processor inside this phone is more powerful than the iPhone 15 Pro's processor, which was the A17 Pro, you have to wonder why that is. And the answer is quite obvious, really. It is Apple Intelligence. Having artificial intelligence functionality stored on the device requires a lot of processing power. And in order to deliver Apple Intelligence to its entire range of iPhone 16 models, Apple has really boosted the performance of its core entry-level processor. The end result of that is that there's not a huge difference in terms of processing performance between the Apple iPhone 16 and the iPhone 16 Pro or Pro Max. Yet despite the lack of processing difference, there is still a significant difference in price. Is the iPhone 16 worth consideration? Well, absolutely. If you need an iPhone, this is the model to pick up this year, in my opinion. It offers almost everything you need from a device. It offers fantastic performance. It offers plenty of storage. It has the same buttons and controls as the more premium iPhone 16 Pro models. The only real key differences, if you're deciding between a Pro and a standard iPhone 16 this year, is that you only get 2 cameras instead of 3, and the refresh rate on the screen is only 60 Hertz versus a variable refresh rate of up to 120 Hertz on the Pro model. There are a few other differences, particularly around 4K video recording and slow-mo on the Pro models and impressive audio. But for most people, they're the differences that you're going to notice. And for me, when it comes down to choosing, that high level of performance with a significantly lower price point is just too attractive a deal to pass up. If you don't want an iPhone, then there are plenty of great Android phones. You can check my guide on better.reviews in order to see what's currently being recommended out there. But if you want an iPhone and you want the best value iPhone, then the iPhone 16 is really hard to go past. What do you think? Are you going to pick up the iPhone 16 this year? Let me know in comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more product review videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.